Good morning, friends. This is Jenny. I'm a little bit under the weather today. I've got a cold, so my voice probably sounds a little bit nasally, but I thought I'd dive in and maybe do a review. I originally intended to do a unboxing of the Spiral Tarot. This is a deck that's been out since, I believe, 1998, and I've just received it. I've had it on my wish list forever. Now, the other deck that I've had by the same artist, Kay Steventon is the artist for both of these decks. I've had her Celestial Tarot for about 15 years, and it took me a while to connect with it, and I still really don't use it. But when I got my Spiral Tarot in, I thought, let me get the other deck of Kay Steventon's artwork. I'd like to compare them. And when I got this deck out, I found it to be, after looking back, after not having looked at it for about 10 years, I'm seeing it with all new depths of richness that I never noticed in the past. So instead of doing the unboxing, I'm going to put that aside for now and maybe do it tomorrow. Instead, I'd like to do a walkthrough of the Celestial Tarot. This deck is great, and I can't believe that I set it aside. I think because it's not traditional Rider-Waite, it's got very different imagery, and it took me a little while. It took me a little while to come back to it. You know, I looked at it initially. I was in my learning phase, and this did not help me to learn per se, if you regard learning as starting with Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. So this is its own animal. This is a very unique deck. And it's based on astrology and astronomy, and the artwork is just stunning. So I'm going to take this out of the box. As you can see, I haven't really used it much. I have not opened the box much in all these years. I'm just coming back to this deck. So it hasn't been worn, or it hasn't been used much. It's a US Games. And the back of the box, it's a regular tuck box. The back of the box shows a few of the cards from the major arcana. And what do we have on the side here? We have Celestial Tarot fuses the myths, symbols, and astronomy of the planets, signs, constellations, and fixed stars with astrological divination to reveal the mysteries of the tarot in an engaging and unique way. And I think you will enjoy this walkthrough. So I'm going to flip the cards out of the box. Now the deck is a nice size. It fits well in the hand. The cards are a little bit longer than your typical tarot deck, rather more long than wide. The cards are bordered, but the border is not obnoxious. The border is just a very small sky blue border, and actually, because of the celestial theme, the border on this deck doesn't bother me at all. The cards are somewhat glossy. You can see them shining. The backs of the cards are just beautiful. Stars. You can see the Milky Way, or just a beautiful impression of the night sky there. Really lovely. And there's a little border on the back too. So you could trim this if you wanted to. I don't think it would be worth the effort, personally. And the cards have a nice weight to them. So this is the title card, Celestial Tarot. Kay Steventon is the artist. Brian Clark wrote the book that accompanies the deck, published by US Games. And then there's a little introductory card. Tells you a little bit about the artist and the author of the book. Embedded in our night sky are archetypal images, symbols, and stories that have enchanted the human soul for eons. Onto this sky sanctuary, the ancients projected their imagination, using star patterns to animate their myths and immortalize their deities and heroes. Celestial Tarot fuses the myths, symbols, and astronomy of the planets, signs, constellations, and fixed stars with astrological divination to reveal the mysteries of the tarot in an engaging and unique way. Celestial Tarot is both a handbook of the heavens and an oracular guide to the inner life. So let me first take you, this guidebook is a little white book, but it is oh so much more than regular little white book would be. If you're familiar like with Los Scarabeo little white books, a lot of times they'll just put the same information for the cards with a different introductory page depending on the deck, and all the card meanings will be the same. This book, however, is essential to the deck. The deck doesn't come with the big book. So there's an introduction to the Celestial Tarot. And then a little bit of information about the Major Arcana. This deck is very rich with symbolism. All the cards of the Major Arcana have an elemental symbol. They have the astrological ruler and correspondence, and they also have a Hebrew letter for those that are into Kabbalah, which I really know nothing about, but if you do, you might enjoy that aspect of this deck. And you'll really need this book if you have this deck, because it does discuss each and every card, the artwork, why it was chosen, how it represents the feeling for that particular card. And not just for the Major Arcana, but the Minor Arcana as well. Here I just picked one at random. The Ten of Pentacles, embodying life on Earth. And it talks about the essence of the feeling and the meaning of the card. And when you see the card, you'll understand. There's like a little embryo presented on the card. It's really kind of a neat card. The Ten of Pentacles reveals the mystery that underneath this moment of time lay the seeds of the future, which is great because for tens, we have that element of the wheel completing and the cycle turning and endings and beginnings. So I like that. Okay, let's go through. I'm going to take you through. As I said, I've had this deck for a long time, but I have not worked with it because I had trouble connecting with it for a long time. So I'm going to just show you the cards. And if you're really interested, you'll probably need to purchase the deck. It's very inexpensive. It's not that popular, and I can understand why, because it's different. It's a system unto itself. But the artwork itself makes it worth purchasing, in my opinion. The artwork is just stunning. So here we have Uranus for the Fool, or Uranus, however you prefer to pronounce it. Either way is hazardous. There you've got the symbols involved, the elemental symbols, the symbols from the Hebrew alphabet. And I could read you a little bit from the book to explain each of these cards, but I'm not going to do that because that would just simply take too much time. Here we have Mercury. There's the god represented there, and as well, of course, Mercury is a planet, just as Uranus was. Mercury the Magician. The Moon. We have Selene, the Moon Goddess, as the High Priestess. Very beautiful. Venus, another planet, to represent the Empress. Really beautiful. I'll get a little closer so you can see a little more of the detail. These cards are stunning. It's too bad they didn't extend the images out to the edge of the card surface and leave out the border. But then we say that about a lot of decks, don't we? Here's Aries as the Emperor. And the Major Arcana is represented by planets and the 12 constellations of the zodiac. So if it's either a planet or a constellation that's represented on each card. Taurus for the Hierophant. I like to spend a few seconds on each card so you can get a good look at them. I hate to watch videos where the person flips through and you have a split second to try and look at the card. Here we have Gemini to represent the lovers. Now this is kind of interesting. I had to go to the book and read about this. This is Cancer, which is the constellation associated with the Chariot, and they picture beginnings with mothers. There's a Romulus and Remus aspect of this, and then, well, I'll just have to read it to you. Give me just a second to get it in the book here. This is so different. I really would like to read this to you. So this is the Chariot, Cancer, the mother, and the hero. This card depicts a mythic fragment of Hera suckling the infant Heracles. Ironically, Hera was the hero's fiercest adversary, yet his name means the glory of Hera. To her left is another mythic mother, the great she-wolf, the foster mother who reared the twins Romulus and Remus. Astrologically, Cancer is the nurturer, the caring mother, and the familial alembic. However, the astronomical myth underlying Cancer reminds us of another dimension of this archetype. The myth describes the heroic struggle to separate from the all-pervading atmosphere of attachments that prohibit us from moving out into the world. The card suggests that it is imperative to take reign of the emotional life and purposely direct it forward. Inertia needs to be overcome to glimpse the horizon of possibilities. So it sort of does tie in when you look at it from that aspect. At first I thought, oh my goodness, what does that have to do with the Chariot? But moving forward out into your life. The Strength card, represented by Leo. Next we have Virgo, the Hermit. Beautiful Hermit card. So you can see the traditional symbols kind of in the background on these cards, like we saw the, well, not necessarily on this card, but on the Chariot. The Chariot was in the background, and then the kind of meaning specific to the deck is represented in the foreground. And the same way with Virgo. We've got the Hermit in the background, and we have Virgo the Virgin in the foreground. So there is the Hermit. Next we have Jupiter as the Wheel. Libra for Justice. Neptune for the Hanged Man, and you can see again in this card the Hanged Man in the background. And we have Neptune or Poseidon. There are a lot of cards in this deck that I like because they have a lot of people mounted on horseback going out to do what they need to do. I love that imagery of man on horseback. Next we have Scorpio for Death. So we've got the Phoenix rising down there. Beautiful card, really beautiful. I don't usually much care for the Death card, but this is a gorgeous one. Here we have Mars for the Tower. Next we have Sagittarius for Temperance. Another image of a person on horseback. I'm going to get in a little bit closer so you can see how beautiful that is. Her artwork is just fantastic. Here we have Capricorn for the Devil. Aquarius for the Star. And this is the image that's pictured on the front of the box. Pisces for the moon. And the sun to represent the sun. Pluto for judgment. There's the traditional trumpet blowing angel in the background, and then we've got the image of Pluto, Lord of the underworld. Here we have Saturn for the world. Next, we're going to go into the minor arcana. Oh Lord, I've been sneezing my head off with this cold. I had to pause the video to rearrange the cards, and I've just been sneezing and sniffling, so if my voice sounds horrible, I have to apologize in advance. Alrighty, so here are the aces. Ace of Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. And they're each associated with a constellation that is not a sign of the zodiac, but a minor constellation. So let's give you a good look at each one of those. Ace of Wands, Cassiopeia. Ace of Cups, Ursa Minor. Ace of Swords, Crucis. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles, Sagitta or Sagitta. Okay, there are the aces. Moving right along to the twos. And if you read the little white book, that each one of these artistic renderings is explained as to how it relates to the card that it represents. Two of Wands, Cetus. Two of Cups, Ursa Major. Two of Swords, Lupus. Isn't that a gorgeous wolf? I love wolves. Two of Pentacles, Aquila, the eagle. So there are the twos. Here are the threes. Three of Wands, Perseus. Three of Cups, Argo. Three of Swords, Corona. You can see it's not Rider Waite. It's its own animal. Three of Pentacles, Delphinus. And that's what I like about this deck. So if you're new and you want to learn the meanings according to Rider Waite, then you may not be able to start with this deck, but later on, coming back to it, I think you'll enjoy it. Here we have the fours. Each card does have four, like the pip style, four of whatever the element of that card is. But it's also got a beautiful, individually designed, artistic rendering of the card. So here we have Four of Wands, the Hydra. Four of Cups, Serpents. Four of Swords, Pisces Australis. Four of Pentacles, Orion. The fives of each suit. Move in for a little closer look. Five of Wands, Crater. Five of Cups, Ophiuchus. I hope I said that right. Five of Cups. Five of Swords, Pegasus. And Five of Pentacles, Eridanus. Now we're moving on to the sixes. If you wanted to, you could trim these cards. I mean, they'd be amenable to trimming because you can tell exactly which card you're looking at because of the pips. There's pips in every single card. So you've got 6 wands, 6 cups, 6 swords, 6 pentacles. But you would lose the title that tells you what the artwork is based on if you did that. So here we have 6 of wands represented by Corvus, the crow, I believe that is. I'm not too up on my astronomy and astrology. Here we have 6 of cups represented by Hercules. 6 of swords, Cygnus the swan. And to me, that's just a beautiful representation that holds true to Rider-Waite of the 6 of swords. And we have the 6 of pentacles, Auriga. Moving along to the sevens. We have 7 of wands represented by Lyra, the lyre. 7 of cups, Alrisha. 7 of swords, Lepus. And 7 of pentacles, Coma. I haven't read totally through the booklet yet to know exactly how each of these relates, but you would really have to give this book some study. I mean, this deck is so unique that you would have to read that little white book and go through it and really spend some time before you could read with this deck. These are the 8s, each more beautiful than the one before. 8 of wands, Ara. 8 of cups, Cepheus. 8 of swords, Canis Major. Love that boxer. Adorable. And 8 of pentacles, Centaurus. So there are the 8s. Here you see the 9s. 9 of wands, Draco, the dragon. 9 of cups, Andromeda. 9 of swords, Canis Minor, another lovely dog. I'm a dog person, if you can tell. 9 of pentacles, Bootes. Here we have the 10s, and if you'll notice, these are represented by the elements for each suit. So we've got 10 of wands, fire, 10 of cups, water, 10 of swords, air, 10 of pentacles, earth. And we've really got the feeling of the cycle completed in each one of these cards. Let me move in for a little better close-up for you. 10 of wands, fire, 10 of cups. Isn't that beautiful? Oh man, I love that 10 of cups. Water, 10 of swords, air. I certainly like this better than any Rider-Waite 10 of swords I've ever seen. And here we have the 10 of pentacles that I read you the little blurb out of the book earlier in the video. The 10 of pentacles with the little embryo there, new growth. So I love these 10s. She did a beautiful job on this number. Now instead of page, we have pictured princesses. I think that's probably maybe to balance the suits out better, sex-wise. I'm not sure because there really isn't anything else in this deck that resembles Thoth. So we have the princesses. Each one represents a season. And this is the only, I mean, it's just a personal quirk of mine. I don't view swords as being associated with winter. I view pentacles as winter and swords as spring, but other than that, you know, that's a small quibble with the deck. Everybody interprets tarot in their own individual way. So here we have the princesses, each representing a season. Oh my gosh, these paintings are just beautiful. Princess of Wands for summer. Princess of Cups, autumn. Just gorgeous. Love, love, love these. Princess of Swords for winter and air. She's got her birds there. Awesome. And we have Princess of Pentacles for spring. Oh man, I love each and every one of these princess cards. They're just stunning, and I don't say that very often. Okay, in place of the knights, we have the prince, and they represent the mutable quality of each element. So let's look at them individually. Mutable fire is the Prince of Wands. Mutable water is the Prince of Cups. Mutable air, the Prince of Swords. And mutable earth, the Prince of Pentacles. Now we're looking at the queens, who represent the fixed quality of each element. These are just beautiful as well. Let's take a little closer look at each one. We have the Queen of Wands as fixed fire. Wow, isn't that awesome? Here we have the Queen of Cups as fixed water. Here we have the Queen of Swords, fixed air. And we have the Queen of Pentacles, fixed earth. So those are the queens. Beautiful, beautiful. And rounding out our walkthrough, we come to the kings. They represent the cardinal quality of each element, sort of the ultimate of their element. I love how this deck emphasizes the elements in the court cards, because that's how I view the court cards myself. So here is the King of Wands, who represents cardinal fire. Here is the King of Cups, who represents cardinal water. Here is the King of Swords, cardinal air. And the King of Pentacles, cardinal earth. Really nice. So I hope you've enjoyed this deck walkthrough. It wasn't what I intended to do when I woke up this morning. I was going to do an unboxing of my Spiral Tarot. Both of these decks are older. You can pick them up for a song on eBay or on Amazon or wherever. I mean, just for the artwork alone, they're very worthwhile. They're beautiful. And if you want something different and something that you might want to spend a little time studying to work with, if you have never felt drawn to Rider-Waite or Thoth or any of those other decks, you might want to consider working with this one. If you're more of an astronomy-minded or an astrology-minded person, this would be great. So enjoy, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.